The ones who were behaving more unintelligently in all of this were the ones who voted yes. They were thinking with their hearts, not their brains. And that is a bit childish. It's an abdication of your responsibility as an adult citizen to take the time to really think. And I applaud most no voters because you were being attacked for being racists by elites. That's a disgusting slur. These elites are so full of their own self-righteousness that they could not descend from the moral high ground for 1 second long enough to even consider that they might have been wrong on this. Waleed was far from the worst offender in this regard from the kooky kids at the project. Far worse was the granddaddy of the show, Johnny Rove McManus, who made a special hosting reappearance before the voice vote precisely to use his failing show to scold us all.
Did my vote. I've got a postal vote. I did it the other day. And it's very simple. For Peter Dutton to say it's not properly explained or we don't have a compelling case, it is there. It says, do you choose to change the Constitution to include First Nations people by having an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice? Yes or no? It's that simple. I wrote yes. My daughter was there. She got it. She's 9. She said, I can't believe anyone would vote no to this.
Because she's 9. She only understands this looks like something nice to do for Aboriginal people. She doesn't understand all the legal implications of the thing. You, on the other hand, Johnny, are 49. You should engage your brain as well as your feels, mate.
And that's what breaks my heart. What are we doing to ourselves? This is a real moment where we can be proud and show what a wonderful country this is. This whole cliche we like to put out of, we love to give everyone a fair go. We're not doing this. I know it has formal legalese in the wording of it.
Yeah, all that formal legalese stuff makes my little brain hurt. That formal legalese stuff, Rove, has real implications. And far from being dumb or mean, the Australian public was smart and kind enough to carefully consider those implications. They knew something wasn't right with this thing, and they were right. And you, sir, as your little show's declining ratings show, are out of touch in the extreme.
I know it has formal legalese in the wording of it, but all it is saying is when it comes to issues that directly affect First Nations people, should we listen to them? And we want to say no. That's mind-blowing to me.
Okay, maybe it's mind-blowing to you because you aren't using your mind well when you think about it all. That is not all it was saying. Changing the Constitution is huge. It sets the agenda for future legal interpretation by the courts of all laws. Also, we were never told what the voice was exactly going to be. It was a blank cheque. Albo could have easily had a bill drafted that had all the detail in it, but instead he went with, oh, we'll let you know the details later. Just vote yes or we'll call you a racist.
So whichever way you're voting, please, just think about what you're doing, think about the repercussions, and let's just be decent for once.
Yeah, be decent for once, you deplorables. Having trouble keeping up with the massive load of news coming at you every week in this world? Are you sick of all the woke that comes with the news in Australia? Well, now there's an alternative. The Other Side Australia, your weekly summary show of all of the news of the week without the woke. The Other Side Australia first streams on ADH TV at 8 p.m. every Friday night. Then on demand afterwards, anytime you want to watch. And remember, all you've got to do is go to adh.tv on any web browser to watch, or download the app on your phone and TV. Join us for Australia's best take on the news of the week without the woke. The Other Side Australia. So what you've just witnessed is the boss, the owner of that show, coming onto the set to scold Australia. Be decent for once, you peasants. The utter arrogance. And look at all the other little people on the panel, all terrified, or don't say anything, disagree with the boss. Honestly. And they wonder why they lost. A regular voice on this show is Sydney advertising executive and social commentator Sean Masters. Sean wrote a piece for The Spectator recently about how The Voice was just another example of the way in which the left latch onto social issues to push their wider agenda of big government, high tax and more power to Canberra and the massive bureaucracy we now have. Sean joins us right now, again, on the other side. Sean, welcome. Mate, this reaction that we've seen to the no win, it's exactly as expected, right?
Well, exactly. Something I found quite frustrating throughout the debate was that from the left, from the yes side, was this claim thrown out that it was fear-mongering, activist fear-mongering. And in fact, the truth was staring us right in the face the entire time. The objectives were entirely activist and entirely political. They were voice, then there was treaty, then that was truth, right? Treaty is co-governance. Yep. That is an activist agenda. Truth-telling, again, leveraging white guilt, again, an activist agenda. And what crucially it was not voice accountability outcomes. It was not voice safe homes, safe communities. It was not voice health housing. It was not voice education equality. It was the political over the practical. And that is why Australians turned off from this en masse, because what we want are results. And we want results because we care about the most marginalised Indigenous people in this country. And it would seem as if the activists have an entirely different agenda to what the rest of Australia does.
Yeah, it would. We want practical outcomes, right? We don't want more politicians, bureaucracy, talking and waste. What outcomes should a good government, if we had one, what do you think they should be prioritising?
Very swiftly, Peter Dutton said we want two things. We want a royal commission into sexual assault of children in Indigenous communities, and we want an audit into the $30 billion that's effectively being wasted every year. So very swiftly, he has offered more practical outcomes than Anthony Albanese did, who just said what we intend to do is listen. That is not a plan. This felt like a handball, not a plan. The entire time the activists were saying, we need something better. Yep. Well, I don't want something. I want a plan. They said this gives Indigenous people hope. I don't want hope. I want results. At one point, Noel Pearson said on Ben Fordham's show, I think it will help. Well, I don't want to think. I want to know. And so did the rest of Australia. And that's why this thing it got beaten down.
Yeah, you wrote in your Spectator piece that if the voice fails, it'll be because millions of Aussies don't want to see Aboriginal people separated from the rest of Australia, but rather loved and embraced as Australians. This seems to be the big screaming point that the radical activists just can't seem to get their heads around.
Yeah, look, it's appalling that activists like Marsha Langton can't seem to get through their head the love that came from the no side. Because when we saw Indigenous people, certainly in Alice Springs, our heart went out to them. We do not see Indigenous people as perpetual victims, but rather as our equals. We want to embrace and love Indigenous peoples as Australians, not see them divided in any way. And we certainly do not see Indigenous peoples as lacking any power over their own destiny, as was appallingly written by Indigenous leaders about their own people in the Statement from the Heart. And as I finish off the piece, I suggest to the good and proud Indigenous people of Australia that perhaps they need new leaders.
Yep, absolutely. Very well said, mate.